So what we're gonna do today, and what you're probably seeing on the screen, we want to create the effect that you're seeing on the screen right now. I'm opening up files, reference files for a car I want to draw. I want to draw a 3D car like the one that you're seeing there. Not 3D, that's 2.5D, right? 2.5D car turn in Moho. I've been looking for a tutorial like that. Nobody was making that tutorial. And then somebody asked about it in a WhatsApp group that I'm in, Animation Zimbabwe. So I decided to make a quick tutorial, though I never made this. If you can hear anything other than my voice, I was pouring some juice. I don't know if you want any. Right, so I was looking for these pictures there. And yeah, I just want to take you guys through the steps. I'm going to speed up some of the parts once you get the hang of them, because there is no need to have this video is supposed to be originally 50 minutes, but there is no need to have 50 minutes of a video when I can speed up the parts that I think you won't miss anything if I do them in a fast manner, right? I'm not the usual tutorial guy. I usually watch other people's tutorials. I never create tutorials. So I don't know if I'm a good or bad teacher. But if you want to learn how to make a 2.5D model of a car turn, at least a basic, continue watching this. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel. You can check out some other stuff that I've been creating. Yeah, so I'm just putting that car in perspective. Just want to get it transparent so that when I'm drawing, I can, I can use it as a reference. I'm not that good at drawing it from the head. So I thought it was a good idea to start with a reference. So right now what I'm doing, I'm drawing the side of the car. Starting by drawing the side of the car. Point by point. Use a few points as possible, because if you use many points, they're going to be hard when we start moving them during the body turn. So any points that you create definitely have to be points that you cannot do without. So you have to be very strategic and very economic with points, even when you're dealing with facial rigs. I'm sure you might know this if you've already done facial rigs. Okay, so I don't like white cars. I don't like white cars, but okay, let me fix the shape of this thing. Then we're gonna deal with the color. Right? So that's the whole idea there. Just tracing on top of a real car. It's not hard. Animation is no longer as hard as it used to be back in the day, when the Walt Disneys were doing it. It's quite simpler for anybody who's been using computers a while, anybody who's used any form of editing software, and anyone who's patient enough to get online and learn some of these things. So the more you watch these things and the more you try some of these things yourself, don't just wait for tutorials, the more you're just going to be sharp at this kind of thing. So 3 minutes into the video, what was I doing there? So yeah, I'm just curving out as you can see, the curvy parts of the car. And since this is something that I've never done before, it's something that I was actually trying out for the first time when I recorded my screen capture. This voiceover is an after voiceover, so I'm going to be editing this video to quicken the video. Okay, that looks fine. That looks fine. Right, so you can change that into blue. Okay. start a new vector layer, which is going to go behind the other one, the one that has the back view. So again, I'm going to be drawing that. Just need you to get the hang of this in its initial phases. Once you get the hang of it, it'll make a lot of sense. Okay, so we've now got the back view of the car. I went to my color picker just to make it a bit darker. I didn't make any mathematical calculations there. It was just instinct. So that you can see the different, there's different lighting because they're not at the same angle. It's not at the same angle. Okay, so now we've got the back of the car. But now we need the windows. We need the windows, the side windows. So the first side I called it side, the other part I called it back. Yeah, so we now need the windows. Okay, let's speed this up a bit. Okay, so I was carving out that thing. Right now we've speeded the footage a bit. This is when I was drawing the windows. I'm sure you can find other tutorials on how to actually draw. What I'm just trying to do here is to put everything into perspective without wasting too much of our time. Right, so I was just putting the windows in perspective, the different parts of the windows. Okay, so that's the back and that's the front. Those are on two different layers, by the way. You should put them on two different layers. So after you do this, you're left with you now have this little body that you have. And another thing that you want to do now is to enclose these things in one folder. You want to enclose all these 4 vectors in one folder. There's 2 windows, the back window and the side window. Then there is the side of the car and the back of the car. For now, we haven't put any wheels yet. Right? So you want to put them in there and then click that layer order thing. Whatever they call it, whatever I'm clicking there. There's an option like that. You change that into a bone. And once you change it into a bone, you can put this bone over there. Go to smart bone dial. And I'm just going to write cut 10. It doesn't matter. Really. So you find out that this thing goes in 2 directions. But I'm only dealing with one direction in this video. I'm going to deal with the other direction later on. So once we are at the part of the keyframe, if you are familiar with smart bones, you should watch a tutorial on smart bones. I'm not going to give a tutorial on what smart bones are. Just find out what smart bones are. Okay, so there's that other car. I had a hard time with this part, so this is going to take a while. Let me edit. Let me edit out certain parts where I was making mistakes so that I do not waste your time. But what I was generally trying to do there was to come up with a perspective that allows me to see where this car can end up if it wants to look straight. Okay, so we're back. What I simply did was to put that car in a perspective where I can use it as a reference. Nothing is changed. So I go to the side layer, to the side view layer, and remember my cursor in the timeline, it's at the keyframe where that smartphone ends. So I'm gonna drag those points and align them with that car, with the side view of the car. Okay. Good. Okay. So I'm gonna be simply aligning every part where it's supposed to be. I'm going to be aligning every part where it's supposed to be. The parts that were at the top are going to be at the top. The parts that were at the bottom are going to be at the bottom. The parts that were on the lights are going to be on the lights. You know, things like that. The more accurately I do it, the more there is no difference. I think that window is disturbing me, that window that I keep seeing. So at some point I decided to switch off these little windows, because it's just gonna make everything hard, right? So don't worry how it looks now, just keep pulling them to where they're supposed to be. That's why I was advocating for a few points when we started off this video. You must always deal with a few points, and you find out that everything becomes easier and easier. Right. So obviously, I'm going to put that point over there and that one there. These are the points around the wheel. Okay. It's not an exact match, but it's a close match. Okay. Okay, that's not looking right. I tried to curve out those parts. So if you can really get proper references of the same car, it might actually come out better than mine. Mine, I'm only doing this for example purposes. Okay, I'm just curving out all those parts over there. It's just going to be, it's just crazy, eh? Okay, curving out that part. Okay, I could sense that there was something wrong with how the car was moving. There's a certain point that I underestimated. So, what I did, I went back. Okay, so I spotted that part. So it's this part was supposed to be there, and that part was supposed to be there. Of course, now it puts everything out of perspective. I have to get back with the curvature tool and fix everything. But I'd rather have things in the right place. So you must take note of your points. Which point was where? Which point was at the bottom? Which point was on which part of the car? You have to, even if you're dealing with a face, that's the rule. So the more you practice these things on different things, it doesn't even have to be a car. Yeah, now, as you can see, that little outline, it's showing us where this thing is going to come out. My preview, the type of preview that I was using was not allowing me to win with this. So now I want to do the same thing to the window. So the window, by this time I've already gotten the grip of things. So the window is not going to take a long time. At this point, the window is not going to take a long time. Okay, so I keep pulling this and I pull everything to where it's supposed to be, where it corresponds with the other car. That's why we're using the other car as a reference, the one that's standing the way that we want. So that with every layer, what we're going to be doing is pulling everything from where it is by taking note of where the points are to where they are supposed to be in the new position. Does that make sense? So once again, I'm going to speed this up again. Okay, so I decided to speed up the process. Now I'm doing the back layer. I'm trying to realign the back layer so that it's unseen. It disappears as soon as, but it disappears properly. So it's important to put the points where they're supposed to be. So you have to imagine where the points might be at the back of the car. You see what's going on now? Now it looks like we're kind of getting there. Okay, yeah, I had to redo that. There's something that was off. So that's the whole point. You have to put the points exactly like where they were, so that you can have a realistic rendition of what you're doing. So this is just going to be the same. It's going to be the same rule with everything you can see. So sometimes you just have to imagine where these points are going to be. There's no other way around it. And all those people that give us tutorials on these things, they're trying new things without even watching a tutorial on stuff. Yeah, so it's starting to look a bit realistic. Okay, so I was saving it there. I was impressed by the progress that we'd made. So I just had to save it. You never know where I'm from. There's a lot of electrical power cuts down here, Southern Africa. Lots of power cuts. So you gotta learn how to save. Otherwise, okay. So yeah, I was trying to make the wheels. I had a hard time with this thing, the whole wheels thing. I've now got a better way of doing that, but in this video, there's another way that I decided to do that. Let me speed up this process as. Okay, so basically, I'm going back and forth. When the timeline right now is gray, I had to go back to add the wheels. We're going to get back into the smartphones mode. So I duplicated those wheels so that we could have. So right now I'm just doing pretty much the same thing that we're doing with the other. With the other layers, except with the wheels it's a bit different. But I've now got a better way of doing the wheels. So hey, you learn every day. The time that I produced this video, I had a hard time with this. Definitely had a hard time with coming up with what I wanted to come up with. So it's all about being able to put the points where they're supposed to be, like I said. This look like the back wheels. Okay, we're back to normal speed. Yeah, so okay. So that other thing is the back there. That's the back window. We now need to deal with the back window. We now need to deal with the back window. So yeah, let's. Okay, so yeah, we dealt with the back window. Not perfect yet. I'm still, like I said, if you manage to perfect whatever I'm trying to do here, feel free to hit me up. I'm on Twitter at MCPOTAR at Makpora. That's me. And we could share these files. I'm probably going to put a link to the Moho file that I did this to in the description if I don't forget. Probably going to put that in the description. So just check the description in case I haven't forgotten by the time I upload. But it's not likely that I'll change my mind on that. Like everything that I know, I was also taught by somebody else, and sometimes I've studied other people's templates. So that bottom part, it just looked so empty in there. So I just added another layer in between the other layers. Layer order is very important. Went back into the smartphones, and then now I just need to modify this thing so that it occupies. I just wanted to occupy the space that I wanted to occupy. Okay, but we're just about done there. To be honest, we're just about done. Yeah, so just fixing up this thing so that it doesn't overlap, and you can see how if you really take your time, you can really come up with a. Now you have to get into the smartphones and fix up every area where there's a gap. You might leave a few gaps. I'm sure I left a few gaps even in the final rendition, which I can always improve on. That's expected when you're creating something, especially something that you've never done before. Yeah, I was now playing around with the color. I think I was feeling confident that it's probably looking super dope. So yeah, I just decided to test it out. I was pretty excited when I finished this. Yeah, and I think that's just about done. Like there's nothing more to it. Thank you for tuning in. I know that my voice is boring to listen to, but yo, we gotta spread this knowledge. If you've made it to the last part of this video, or if you're skipping, it's okay, man. Can you subscribe to my channel? Please subscribe to my channel. Watch the other content that's there. Push, push, push. Feel free to give me links to your content in the comments. It's crazy.